3, 2, 1. Jaishankar holds talk with Chinese counterpart Wang Yi at SCO summit. The talks revolved around border disputes between India and China along the line of actual control, lack, in the region of Ladakh. Jaishankar said on X, met with CPC Politburo member and FM Wang Yi in Astana this morning, discussed early resolution of remaining issues in border areas, agreed to redouble efforts through diplomatic and military channels to that end. Respecting the LAC and ensuring peace and tranquility in the border areas is essential. The three mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest will guide our bilateral ties. He added that India hopes to work with China to constructively resolve specific differences and turn a new page in India-China relations as soon as possible. China will soon take over the rotating presidency of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO). Jaishankar said that India supports China in performing its duties and is ready to strengthen coordination and cooperation in multilateral mechanisms. India will adhere to an independent foreign policy, uphold the concept of multilateralism, work for multipolar work, and safeguard the common interests of developing countries. Zhu Feiong, the Chinese ambassador to India, stated on X, Befem Wang Yi, during meeting with Indian External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar yesterday, called on China and India to follow the important common understandings reached between the leaders of the two countries, respect, understand, trust, and accommodate each other, and help each other succeed, exploring the right way for the two big neighbors to get along with each other. Both sides agreed to hold a new round of talks on the border issues at an early date. The two sides agreed to work for stability in the border areas and hold a new round of consultations on the border issue at an early date. CDS consults veteran on Agnipath recruitment scheme. The development comes on the back of a controversy over compensation for Agniveers who die in the line of duty. Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, General Anil Chauhan has begun consultations with veterans of the three services, Army, Navy, and Air Force, on the Agnipath recruitment scheme. Chauhan also recently visited the Agniveer training centers of the three services and took stock of the ground situation. The development comes on the back of a demand by the opposition to roll back the scheme and a controversy over compensation for Agniveers who die in the line of duty. The Defense Ministry has, however, maintained that there has been a good response among the Agniveers regarding the scheme. During an event at INS Chilka, a premier training facility of the Indian Navy in Odisha, General Chauhan said that the implementation of the Agnipath scheme was one of the major reforms towards maintaining a youthful profile in the defense sector. The center unveiled the Agnipath scheme in 2022, under which personnel are recruited in the Army, Navy, and the Air Force on a short-term contract of 4 years. Of the total annual recruits, only 25% are allowed to continue for another 15 years under permanent commission. The remaining 75% will be discharged from the military and will receive a severance package that includes a lump sum payment, a skill certificate, and support for finding employment. Recently, a controversy erupted after Congress leader Rahul Gandhi claimed that no assistance was received by the family of the late Agniveer Ajay Kumar from Punjab's Ludhiana. Defense sources said the family of Ajay Kumar, who died in January this year in a mine blast along the Lap, would be getting a compensation of around 1 rupee and 65 crore. Giving a breakup of the amount, defense sources said the insurance money paid to the family was around 48 rupees lakh and another 50 rupees lakh came from the bank where his salary was being deposited. The family will get another 44 rupees lakh from the force's ex gratia payment that is given to personnel who lose lives during operations. Another sum of 8 rupees lakh will come from the army welfare schemes, while Ajay Kumar's balance payment will be around 13 rupees lakh. In total, the trooper's family will be getting around 1 rupee and 65 crore from different sources. Certain posts on social media have alleged that compensation wasn't paid to the next of kin of Ajay Kumar, who lost his life in the line of duty. It is emphasized that the Indian Army salutes the supreme sacrifice made by Agniveer Ajay Kumar. The last rites were carried out with full military honors. Out of the total amount due, the family of Agniveer Ajay has already been paid 98 rupees and 39 lakh, the Army wrote on X. India talks with the U.S. for Stryker combat vehicle in Ladakh and desert region. India is set to carry out trials for US-made Stryker combat vehicles in Ladakh and deserts. The trials are part of India's plan to re-equip its forces with Strykers, which will be customized and technologically configured for Indian terrain, including high-altitude areas like eastern Ladakh and Sikkim. The proposed plan involves a limited purchase of the vehicles directly from the U.S. through its Foreign Military Sales (FMS) program. The Striker project aims to enhance India's ground forces amid a tense border dispute between India and China. Sources in the defense establishment said the army is looking to procure about 530 infantry combat vehicles. The Striker armored fighting vehicles will be used to replace aging Russian BMPs, infantry combat vehicles, and will be equipped with anti-tank weapons, as well as tasked with reconnaissance and command roles. The vehicles come in over 24 variants, including infantry carriers and medical and engineering support vehicles. One reason the Striker is under consideration, according to sources, is that Indian vendors are unable to meet the qualitative requirements (QR). However, the Striker also has its limitations. In case India zeroes in on the Strikers, there will be limited off-the-shelf purchase under the US's Foreign Military Sales (FMS) initiative. It will then be followed by joint production in India by means of a joint venture, reported the print. If the Striker vehicle is finalized, sources said its capabilities will have to be altered to suit high-altitude areas such as eastern Ladakh, where tensions along the line of actual control have been ongoing between India and China for the past 4 years. One of the big drawbacks of the Striker is that it's not an amphibious vehicle. Another source said that each vehicle will have to be terrain and weather specific. Sources said the decision will be taken progressively after a holistic analysis, which will include an evaluation of the technical capabilities such as mobility, terrain negotiation in various conditions, protection to troops, as well as lethality parameters. One of India's conditions is co-development of Striker with an infused Indian defense ecosystem. India is also looking at the transfer of critical technologies like the Javelin anti-tank guided missiles (ATACMS) that are integrated with the Striker. They explained that the WAC cannot be compared to ATACMS. They claimed that the product does not offer firepower, a sight system, or even a fire control system. However, it should be noted that the WAP has several versions added and has showcased its capabilities with multiple turrets, sight system, and a fire control system. In addition to this, the Army is also looking to procure 105-wheeled armored personnel carriers, X for Rex and support. The request for information, RFI, for this is under formulation. The need for such vehicles was felt during the military standoff with China in Ladakh in the summer of 2020. Indian Army had already started trials for the Infantry Protected Mobility Vehicle, an armored personnel carrier that can be used for swift patrols and quick induction of troops for various missions like reconnaissance and offensive operations. India and the U.S. are in advanced negotiations to co-produce the latest generation of Striker armored infantry combat vehicles. This three-phase project includes initial purchases, joint production in India, and co-development of future versions supporting India's Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. PM Modi to discuss issue of regional, global importance with Putin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is scheduled to embark on his visit to Moscow next week, is expected to discuss issues of regional and global importance with Russian President Vladimir Putin, confirmed Foreign Secretary Vinay Quadra on Friday. Responding to whether the two leaders are expected to discuss Ukraine and China, Foreign Secretary Vinay Quadra stressed that he cannot prejudge the two leaders' conversation, adding that the global issues will be discussed. Prime Minister Modi will pay an official visit to Moscow on July 8-9 at the invitation of the Russian President Putin for the 22nd annual summit. The two leaders will review the entire range of multifaceted ties between India and Russia. This is going to be the 22nd annual summit. In all the past summits, whenever the Prime Minister has met with the Russian President in the past, and also even in sideline meetings, for example, the meeting in Samarkand in 2022, the issues of regional and global importance for both countries are always taken up by the two leaders, Quadra said during a special briefing on Friday. Quadra further said that it would not be correct for him to prejudge the discussions between the two leaders. I think it would not be correct for me to really prejudge the entire spectrum of issues that would figure in the discussion between the Honorable Prime Minister and the Russian President. The same would apply to the second part of your question, he said. You are well aware of what the Honorable Prime Minister spoke when he referred to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine at that time with the Russian President. So we are all aware of that and those issues in terms of how they impact the countries of the Global South, how they have a bearing on the peace and stability in the larger region, and how they also interface with some elements of bilateral engagement would expected to figure in the discussion, Quadra added. Moreover, the Foreign Secretary said that there is a possibility that the two leaders will discuss the developments in the Indo-Pacific as it is significant to both India and Russia. The developments in the Indo-Pacific have a spectrum of opportunities and a spectrum of challenges, and given that they are of significance to both India and Russia, it is possible that they might also figure in the agenda, he said, adding, "But again, as I said, it's not correct for me to prejudge what the two leaders would speak about, except to say that issues of regional and global importance would constitute an important element of the conversations that the two would have. On Indians stranded in Russia, who were allegedly duped into fighting for the Russian army in the war against Ukraine, Quattro stated that around 10 Indian citizens have been brought back to India, adding that they expect PM Modi to raise the issue. We are looking into this matter very seriously. Around 10 Indian citizens have been brought back till now to India. We expect PM Modi to raise this issue, Quattro said. Notably, around 20 persons were allegedly duped into fighting for the Russian army in the war against Ukraine on the pretext of lucrative jobs. At least 2 Indians have died. It confirmed in April that among the Indian nationals who were working as support staff in the Russian army, 10 have returned to India. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
3, 2, 1.